the selection, that the ellipses icon, tap that, we'll go to transform selection, and we can move that wherever you want on the screen. We can even resize it if we want. Once you're happy with it, tap done. Now, the value of selections, like we saw with the donut, is it contains or constrains where you put the paint. It prevents bleeding, and it allows you to control where you are putting pigment. The problem with selections is they're temporary. If I lose this selection, it's hard to get it back. I can deselect this, and Fresco does give you an option. If I tap the selection tool again, I can load that last selection, so that's a helpful save. But if I'm working with a number of different selections, that can be kind of problematic if I lose one of them. So in this case, I think I'm better off working with a mask. Now I can take the selection and turn it into a mask. We can see again in those properties below the selection, we have a mask option. Similarly, in the right-hand nav, the tools, the ellipses tool there, if I tap that, we also have an option to create a mask from there. So either way, wherever you want to do it, just tap one of those options and turn it into a mask. Notice we get a helpful tool tip, and when you're just getting started, that is super helpful, that we're now editing a layer mask, and that we can swipe the layer thumbnail to go back to editing the actual layer. So I'm going to tap OK. You can see this little visual affordance here, this little half dot to the left of my thumbnail. If I slide the thumbnail, now I'm back in artboard mode. If I slide back the other way, now I'm back in mask mode. So very simple once you get the concept of it. I'm going to go back to my artboard now. Let's go up to our watercolor brush. I'm going to tap down, tap watercolor. We're going to go for a watercolor wash flat option. And let's go to our color wheel. And we're going to pick a nice orange because clementines are orange. If you would prefer to use the HSB sliders or the numerical keypad, let's tap 40 and 100 and 100, and that's good. And so once that's done, let's pump our brush size up to the max, which is 512. And once you've done that, just start painting from the middle of the artboard out. Just start building out your circle. Eventually you're going to come to the edge of where your orange, or rather your oval mask is. And make sure you fill that entire shape in, and then go back to your color selection, and we're going to make that a little bit darker. We're just going to change our brightness to about 60. Actually, let's make it 70.
I prepared this overview here, and you have it also inside your workshop files. I have like
okay, so just a little bit darker. We're going to tap off to bring our color selector tool down. And now, starting in the upper outside of the orange, upper left quadrant, do a sweeping arc into your orange. And if you're not happy with it, again, you can hit that undo button or tap with two fingers. But what we want to create is a little bit of shade inside of our orange. And again, we can keep playing with this. We can go back to our orange shape if we're not happy with it and add more orange pigment. So we really are unlimited with our options, and we can always backstep out of it if we're not happy with what we have. I got a little bit of tone on the bottom. I'm happy with that. I want to bring your attention to the touch modifier button, and that's that little circle that you might be curious about that's in the lower left hand side of the screen. If I tap this with my thumb or another finger, you'll see that it highlights. What it's doing right now is modifying my brush, and it's turning it into an eraser with all the same parameters that are a part of my brush. And I'm going to go to the upper portion, upper right portion of my oval shape here, and I'm
Adobe
just going to
Code,
start
but some of them that are a
tapping.
little more
And
advanced,
what is
you'll see
slowly
in a
starting to
minute
happen, it
here,
may take
I
a little
might
bit
go
to
in and
you
combine a
to
person
start to
in
see it,
Photoshop,
but it's
or
actually
I will go to
lightning. We're
any other
erasing pigment,
Adobe
which is something
Creative
that's
Cloud
pretty hard to
mobile
do with
application.
real
So
life
let's say Adobe has something called
analog
Adobe
watercolors.
Mix and Fix.
We're pulling
I don't know
pigment
if you're
out
gonna
and we're
update
adding
it, but you can do
water
like a
to it,
simple,
adding a little bit of a
like
highlight.
combination.
So
So
now if you
sometimes I
sort of
was
squint
directly
your
on
eyes,
it
we have a darker
on my
tone, a
iPad
middle
or my
tone,
phone,
and a light
and
tone.
then save
Now to
it as
finish
an
this off,
image and then
we're going to
upload
go
it to Adobe
into
Spark
our
and put the
color
images over here. Absolutely
selector,
so easy
and
to
we're
do.
going to
We're gonna
just
start
choose
doing
white.
proofs
You see that
here
there's a
in a
white
minute.
swatch option, a
Then
little circular white
then you have
swatch
the page.
above,
I,
right
as
below
a
the word
person,
color wheel.
I
We're just
use
going to
page
tap
the
that.
most. Why?
Let's
I use
bring
it
our
for
brush
prototype
down
and
a little
maybe for a
bit
pretend
to
website
something
if
like
I think I want
250.
to do it for somebody.
And then in the
Mainly I
upper
use it
right
for presentations.
quadrant of
I
our
also use
oval,
it for
we're going to make
presenting
a
it to my
couple of
student
just
too.
quick
Instead of just doing like
stripes
boring
or
PDFs
swipes
or
with our brush.
PowerPoint
Give it a
presentation,
couple of
I am
seconds.
creating
What's
it in
happening
Adobe
now is,
Spark,
the
and then even
digital
creating a bunch of
water
links
is
within
spreading,
Spark, so they're gonna
and we're just
combine
going to give
another
that a
Spark
second
with
to
it.
do its
So
thing,
what is
and then we're going to
after
hit
some
it with a little bit
information and
more
some
white,
of my
maybe
stuff, and in
2 or
the
3 more
file
strokes,
that I gave
and
you
that's
here, I
creating
actually gave you
like
a
a
list of
burst
some of my
of light, as if
links to
there's a
Adobe
light
Spark. You can
shining
see some of the
down
stuff that I did
from
before,
a
so you can
corner
start looking at it.
onto
So you can
the
see a
orange.
different one.
Now,
Anything about,
arguably
like
that
you
looks a
see
little
here,
bit
like this
like a
one
really
says,
zoomed
like
in
Charlotte
yolk of an
Salomon.
egg.
This is a
So
pitch for
we need to
movies
add a little
that I
bit
made.
of
This
skin,
one,
little
how to
skin in
work
the
with
game, a little
Adobe. This one,
texture
how to work
to
with
our
Adobe
orange.
XD.
We're going to go
This is just my
back
artwork.
to our
So you
watercolor
can see
brush,
here just my
to our
artwork over
watercolor
here.
spatter
And then you can
wet
publish
brush, the
it and
last
do
one on the
stuff like
list.
this. And then
And
there's
let's
a
go
video,
down
and
to
then you can go
our
back in video and create
the
small
brown
videos. If
tone
this is as
that
robust, as
we
beautiful
added
as
to
Adobe
the bottom
Premiere,
portion
absolutely not.
of
Not
our
like videos like Photoshop,
orange.
but in 1
And
second, if you need to present
you'll see
even
if
a
you
prompt
tap
that you have,
the
and you want to even
size,
tell
we
your
want it at
client
the
how you did
maximum.
that,
So if
you
it's
can
not,
present it in
drag
Adobe.
this
So
little
we're gonna look at
slider
that
up to
too.
the top.
So
We
why,
can even
and
go
then you
down
can
to the
see here, like
properties
this demo
panel
of a
and do some
video,
tests.
and then the
So,
sample of my Spark
press
pages just
hard
I'm
to
showing you
see
here.
what
So if you're looking
effect
at the
we
links that
get
I
when
have,
we
you can see
tap
I have
down.
demo
We can
of
also
other
play with
stuff
the
in
flow.
there.
We're
And
at
then you can
81
put
right
stuff
now. I might
about yourself,
raise that a
and
little
even
bit.
have links
And now
to
just go
ambiance and
into
everything
your
else that you have.
orange
So I'm
and
just
just
gonna
start
turn it
tapping
off right now.
into it.
Before we move
And
on, I
what
want
you'll
to
start to
ask
see
you, what are you
is,
looking
the
for and
splatter
what are you gonna
is
think you're gonna use Adobe
spreading
Spark for?
like it should, because it's pigment on water. We can now toggle over to white and add some highlight spatter to start to give the illusion of skin. Now, this is all well and good, except what if we don't want full wetness in
Exactly.
our skin? Like, there's a couple of ways that we can address that. We talked earlier
So one
about
of the
adding
things that
another
you can do
layer
here, and actually I
that
gave a class
would
one day
put
to,
the pigment
it was a
on
high school
top.
student
It'll still spread because
somewhere,
it's
I think
watercolor,
in
but it won't blend into
Orange
this orange
County. I
color.
went there 'cause they were
The
like
watercolor
before graduating, but it was a school
brush
that has, like,
also has an
photography and all
option,
sorts of
if
stuff
we
like that.
tap this
So I
ellipses
gave a
tool,
talk to the
to
photography students, and
forcefully
I said,
dry the color.
you wanna
Remember we
apply
talked about
photography and other
even
things again,
closing the
but you need to
file
create your
out, the
portfolio.
pigment's going to remain
So
wet.
what
But
if
if I
you did
want
an
to
interview or you
actively
have something like
dry
this, and the night
the
before,
pigment so it
somebody
doesn't
actually called
bleed,
you
I can
saying,
tap
I
on
would
the
like to
dry
come
layer.
for an
It's the
interview
bottommost
tomorrow morning,
option
but
in our
can you
pull
give
down
us
here.
something with your
And we
portfolio,
do that
and it
once,
has to be
and
digital.
it adds
So
dryness
you're not gonna start
to
looking
our
for a
colors.
domain
Let's go
right
back now
If
to
you're
our
not
brown color
good with
and tap
digital and
into
doing everything like
our
that,
orange,
with like a
and you notice
website, you don't know
now
what to
it's
do,
laying
and you're
the
not gonna carry all the bags that you
the
used to do
pigment, the
before and
spatter
enjoy
down,
it.
but it's
So
doing it
basically,
in a
Adobe
more of a
Spark
dry
Paint would be the
fashion.
answer,
And we're going to go
because
back
they
to
can
our
create a
white,
portfolio
highlight again,
right
do the
away
same thing there.
in few
And now
minutes
our
to maybe an
orange is
hour,
really
as long as we
does
have the
look more
images,
like
and come to the client
there's
or
a
send them
skin
ahead of time
happening
link,
there.
basically.
Couple of
Like I said,
things I
a
think
bunch
we
of
can
links, and if
still
you
do
wanted
to
see it,
improve
you can
our
look at the
orange.
stuff. So
And
it's really
what I would
looking
like to
good
do
for,
is
like,
make it look a
engaging
little more
portfolios,
organic, because
social media
most
posts,
oranges
presentation,
are
lectures. So
imperfect.
like
just like humans, right? They're not exactly round.
And one of the
What we can do now is go back into our mask, and I want to show you what's actually happening on our artboard. Like if we took this mask away, if I delete it, this is really what we've been painting the whole time. But because we have the mask on, I'm just going to double tap to undo that, bring us back into the mask. We have this perfect shape. We can use some of that to create imperfections in our Clementine. Now you notice when we're in mask mode, we don't have access to our vector brush or our live brushes anymore, but we do have access to every pixel brush in our toolkit. So let's stick with the basics. We're going to go to the basic round, and brush size about 200. That's good enough. What I'd like you to do now is go inside of the orange and start tracing around the perimeter very slowly, just to see the effect that starts to happen. As you trace around the perimeter of your orange, the imperfection of your own stroke, because your hand jiggles a little bit, you can certainly control that with the smoothing. Like right now, even though I have it at 100 smoothing, there's still some imperfection, and so that's creating some imperfection in my orange, which I think looks a lot more organic. Now, if I've done too much, if it starts to look like a lemon, notice we have two options at the bottom of our mask. We have reveal and we have hide. If I want to hide what I've done, I can go in and select hide and just paint on the outside in, and that is going to fix any imperfections that I'm not happy with. I might create some other imperfections that I'm not happy with, in which case I'll toggle back to reveal and I'll fix that. Now when we pop back out, we have an orange that looks a little more imperfect. Let's go into our move tool. I want to make my orange a little bit smaller. Clementines do tend to be pretty small. That's I think that was a little too big. And I'll say okay. There's a couple other things I want to do here. So last I checked, oranges, clementines, apples, fruits, they come from a tree. They have a stem. What's missing here is the dimple that the stem would have created when it came off. So let's add that to our clementine. We're going to go into our color wheel. We're going to select our brown, but we're going to go a little bit darker. Not much darker. I'm just going to slide it down a little bit. If you want, you can punch in 60. And so 40 hue, 100 saturation, 60 brightness. And now we're going to choose, we just about used every watercolor brush except the round detail brush. We're going to bring that to about 47, that's fine, or 50. And at the very top of our orange, we're just going to create like a little bit of
you see all the pages that I have, and I have a lot of pages.
A U shape or a little smile. We might even want to go a tad darker, bring that down a little bit. I might even make my brush a little bit smaller. I could zoom in, of course, that's helpful. And I'm just going to kind of trace around that and just give that a little bit more darkness. And you'll see by going around the edge there, I'm going to let the color bleed its way back up. So I can go as dark as I want here and just go to the edge and then do it really quick and just let the color go up. And now we can also use our touch modifier tool, and when I tap that, I can go just outside of my pigment and just barely kiss that, and I'm going to create a little more bleed for my color to run into.
Or something like this, and do different kind of things, or rename it.
All right, so that's looking pretty good. I think the last thing I want to do is ground this clementine, because right now it looks like it's just floating in space, and we want to fix that. So I'm going to add another layer. I'm going to tap my lowest layer, add the plus sign. Let's go to my dark color. I'm going to go to my 50% gray. We're going to pop back out to our watercolor wash soft.
Yes.
And we want to bring that down, well, no, about 250 should be good. Let's get behind our orange. So we are on the layer beneath it, but we're going to put our brush down, and then we're just going to quickly let it stroke out. Do that maybe a couple of times just to let the darker pigment, hit it and start to bleed out. And now we have a nice sort of three-dimensional orange shape. If I want to reposition that, I can tap my Move tool. Notice again, that's only affecting the shadow part. And if I want to select if I want to move the orange and the shadow, I'm going to tap on the orange, I'm going to move that layer on top, and now I can go back to my Move tool and center that, and we are ready for clementines.
So that's kind of like it's the web.
So Fresco's new live brushes takes natural media to the next level. Watercolor brushes provide properties and flow features that feel and respond like real watercolors, blending colors with precision and with added controls that are just not possible in the real world. Erasing, painting with white, undoing. Media that remains wet even after you close and reopen the file. Fresco taps familiar features from tools you already know, like masks that help isolate areas in the illustration, super helpful for pros, and those just beginning with drawing and painting. I could totally use a slice of pizza right about now, like maybe two, but unfortunately my favorite pizza place is more than 5,000 miles away in Brooklyn, New York. So maybe I can live vicariously through Adobe Fresco. Let's look at another live brush, oil. So back to starting a new document, we're going to go with our square again, and this time gear icon, let's make a couple of slices.
You don't have to copy and paste or directly type here. Since
Or as they
sometimes
say
I don't know
in
what I'm
Brooklyn,
doing, and I tend sometimes to have
couple of
spelling
slices.
mistakes because English is
All right.
not my first language,
All right.
and there's not spelling
Okay,
mistakes.
so
I will tell you
we're going to go
stuff
back to our
forward
selection tool
and look
again.
at
This
it
time
and
we
say,
are
and
going to
then I
use the
copy and paste
free
it. Not a
form
big deal,
selection
right?
tool,
So
and we're
that's
just
what I
going to
prepared for
create a
you as
couple
well.
of triangles.
So if you're looking for the
Really
files that I
easy,
gave you,
just
if
draw
you
them
have
out,
them,
and we
it
got
is looking like
two
social
triangles
media in
there.
Spark.
Let's go
Basically,
into
you have
our,
different
back
kind
to
of
our
digital
live
images, working with
brushes,
AI.
and this time we're going to
Yes,
pick
and you have some stuff with text. You don't
oil,
have to use
and
this
go
text.
into
This
our
is some
oil
stuff I
paint
wrote about
chunky.
myself. Right?
So
That's the
let's go
information
to
and
our color
statement
picker,
about yourself and all kind of
and
stuff like
let's
that,
choose
if you
a
wanna go
nice
in and
crust
do that.
color.
I also
I'm going to find
prepared for
like a
you
nice
in
tan,
the
so we
images
can
that I
kind of get
have,
there sort
if
of,
I'm gonna
or we can go
in
to our
and look at it.
HSB
Actually, this is
sliders.
where you got
I want to
kind of
do
like the file.
about
This is the
60
Spark and social
for
media
hue,
that we have there.
about,
So if I double click on
let's
this one to
say
open it already,
40,
there's a little PDF that
39
I
or
combined
40,
it
yeah,
together,
let's say 40,
like
round numbers, I
pretending
like
what
round
we're gonna
numbers.
look at the presentation.
And let's
some
do
of the links are actually call
90
it like hot links
on
or something like this,
our
so you can go click
brightness.
on them right away
Okay,
and
so
see what you have.
let's pump
But I always
our
tell people you can
brush
really
size
use
all the way up
whatever
to
you want on
512,
this one.
and again we're
So
in
if you
this sort
have
of
something like
selection
it's
mode
still
right now. I
downloading
know we looked at
handout
masks
over
earlier,
here,
but let's
you're gonna
just go really
in
quick.
and say something like creating your portfolio using Adobe Spark. So this is actually, if you open that, that's the link for my Spark
Really
presentation.
doesn't matter if we
Then
get
there's
messy.
a little stuff about like Behance to inspire, and then things about what you're gonna do if you're a photographer, and then other people that are doing
Oil
it. So
brushes. This time we're going to go to
if you
glaze.
want to have
Whoops.
that. You don't
We're going
have
to go to glaze
the other
and back
stuff you
to
have
our
already, but I just created
pigment.
kind of
Let's pick
little
a
one
nice
there.
red.
And also I created like social
And
media
for
cheat
here we want
sheets.
to
But I'm gonna
go,
go back to
let's
Spark.
say
So let's
10
decide what are we
on
gonna
the
do
hue,
together
and
with Adobe Spark.
100 saturation, 100 bright. Let's go to like a 200 in the size of our brush, and again we can tap and hold on the brush size number. It'll bring up the keypad. So because we've added a layer, our paint is not going to blend. It's just going to sit on top. And when you think about putting sauce on pizza crust, or at least on pizza dough, that's kind of what happens. It's not really blending with it. It's just kind of sitting on top. So we're going to do that for our pizza. We're just going to lay some sauce on it very quickly.
Well, I'm going to look at that. So where
Except
can you
now,
take
let's
your
go
images
back
from? On
to
the right
our
side.
tan
You can
color,
upload a
and we
photos, you
want
can
to do a
upload
little bit
it
of
from my
blending
images
right
that I
at the
have.
point where
You
the
can
sauce
go in and
meets
find a free
the
photo. So that might take you to
crust.
anywhere, all kind
Now,
of
let's
website
look
that has
at
a free
let's
photos.
tap on
You
our
can go to
paint
Adobe
mix. We're
Spark.
kind of at a
So when
50-50
do I
right
go
now,
there?
which
I
is
will go there a
fine.
lot.
I'm just going to
I'm not
lay some
purchasing
pigment down, but
because
I'm
I
also
want
going
to
to
do the
rub it
portfolio
in.
and
Like
see the
once
feedback,
once
how
I
people
lay
are
the
gonna look,
pigment,
or
I'm
maybe
just gonna
I'm creating something for them
paint
or for
in
somebody
so
else,
it starts to
and then
blend.
not buying it, so I
It
still
can be
have
a
the
little
Adobe there,
messy.
and
That's
client say,
fine.
this is what I like,
Again, if you
continue,
lay the
so we'll
pigment down
purchase
on
it.
top
Be
and then
careful not to
start
click to purchase right away,
mushing it
because
around,
so once you
you
have the
may
Adobe
get some
ID, they have
better
your credit
results
card.
there.
You click on purchase,
Okay.
get what?
Now
2
let's
seconds,
make
it's
some
yours, and
cheese.
sometimes you
So
don't want to
cheese
do that.
color,
So it is something
I'd
that I
say
always
let's
tell
go
people
with
because I made this
a
mistake
like
so
60
many
hue.
times.
That's
Then
fine.
you can go to your
But let's bring our
Creative Cloud.
saturation to
So if I'm
about
going to click on
10,
my Creative
and
Cloud, it takes
our
me to my
brightness,
Creative
let's pump it
Cloud
up all the way
files
to
over here.
100. So I get
These are
almost
my
white.
personal
And
files.
we're
So
going to
look what
keep
I have
our
here.
same
Idea files,
brush,
image general,
and we're just going to
right?
start
General
laying
images that I did for
some
something.
cheese color on
Collages
top.
in
Again,
Photoshop.
you can be kind of haphazard
So you see here,
because
just
we
general
have
collages in
our
Photoshop. If I felt
selection
like taking
tool.
one
It
of the
won't go
images and
beyond the
putting it
bounds
in
of that.
here,
And
absolutely I
we
can
can
go
mush
and
it
put it there.
around once
But what if
we
I
put
don't want to
some
go in
of
and
that
do
in.
that? So I'm
Pretend
going
that
to
it's
go back
baking
here.
at
You can go to
450
Lightroom.
degrees or
So if you're a
something.
photographer
So it
that
just
using
starts to
Lightroom,
blend.
I'm
Let's
not a
add a little white
photographer,
to that
but I use
because
a
I
lot
think,
Lightroom to
you know,
bring a lot of
cheese
my
tends to
assets
do
in there.
that. It's a little
So I can go
yellow, it's a
directly
little
to
white.
there. Then you
And
can
we can
connect to your
even
Dropbox,
go back
believe
in
it or
if we
not.
want
That's
and
new.
say, you know, I'd like a little
Then you
bit
can
more
connect to
sauce
Google Photos.
poking through
How
there,
cool
and we
is
can
that?
make that happen
And
just
then you
by
connect to Google
selecting
Drive.
that
So
recent color
keep like
from our stack
moving
and add that
moving
in,
moving
and we can
moving
just
adding
blend
more
that,
stuff.
and it
Hopefully in the
really
future
starts
they're
to
gonna
look kind of
announce it
yummy.
this Monday. It's
We can
not in
back out
stock
of it if
yet,
we're not happy
but
with
they're
it,
gonna come out with something called
and try that
cloud
again
documents from Photoshop
just to
that right
swish
away
it
goes
around.
to
Good.
here and goes to
Okay,
there.
so you know
My
what? I
dream
want to add
is
a
that
little
I
bit
will be
more.
able to do
There we
that
go.
maybe in the
Okay.
future. Not
So
right now.
the only thing
So
I
I
think
kinda
it's
like
missing
do
right
it
now
to
is
assist
maybe
you.
a
When
little
I started
oregano.
working
And
with Adobe
fortunately,
Spark in the
Fresco
beginning,
has
I
in
could
its
have just
pixel
load my own
brushes
photos only. So
under
if I didn't have
special
them,
effects
it
or
would be stuck.
FX. If we
So I'm
scroll
gonna go to
down,
my upload a photo, or you can
we've
go
got something
anywhere.
called Leafy
So if I'm gonna
Line
go
or
to
Leafy
my
Line 2.
photos,
Let's
I might
select
go
that
in
and
to
pick
the
a
social
nice
media,
oregano
and I'm gonna
color.
look at the stuff that I have.
I kind of like
So
my
I have
oregano
digital
with
images that
say
I
a
have here. I
120
have Spark images.
hue and
So
say
I'm gonna look here in the Spark
100
images, and I'm gonna say I have
saturation,
them. One says
and
art and
maybe not that
music.
bright. Let's
One
take
of
our
them I
brightness
have
down to 50.
blobs, and one I
Yeah,
have
that's sort of
DTLA and food
oregano-y.
images. So in the
And
food
now
images, I have all
let's
kind of food
just
images for
sprinkle
downtown
some
LA.
oregano
So
on
maybe I'm
top
gonna
of our
say
pizza.
art and
Just a
music
couple of
images. So look
little
what I have here.
sprigs
Because maybe
of
we're not
that,
gonna do my
and I will
portfolio.
be
Maybe we're gonna
very
do
happy.
something about
All
art
right,
and
so
music
I think
in downtown LA.
maybe
All
what's
part
missing
of
now
it,
is a
right?
little
Because I don't
depth.
have all
We
the
added
images
depth
that
to
you
our
have.
other
Think about anything,
pieces
and you could put
of
everything in the
content,
image
our
that you
donut
want.
and
So
our
I'm looking
clementine.
at the
Let's add a
images
little
that I
depth here
have
as well.
here and thinking,
I'm going to go to
what would I
my
like to put
pixel
in
brush.
there that's gonna
Outside
be
the
beautiful
FX, we've
and
got
maybe
some dry
engaging? So
media,
I'm looking at the stuff that
and
I
we're going to
have
go down to
here, and
soft
all the stuff
pastel.
is
We'll go back to
basically
our
some
crust color.
images and
I want to make that a
screenshots that I
little bit
did
darker.
downtown LA.
So
So
a
I'm gonna
crust
go
color,
in
let's
and double click on
let's
DTLA,
modify that a little bit. We're going to take that to
and I have
about
other
50,
images that I have
and
here, more
40
stuff
is
from
good
downtown.
there.
But
And but
maybe I
let's make
really
our
don't want to
brightness.
use
Let's
them.
make that a
I'll
little
use
bit
them
darker.
within the
Bring it down to
presentation.
70.
So you can see here I have a
And check our
screenshot
brush
of
size.
something
I
that
think
looks like
that's
that. It's
good,
not the
about
right aspect
300 or
ratio,
310.
but what
That's
if I
fine.
decided to put it in
Hold
there?
that down
So if
and
I'm
make
gonna
that
click
300.
open,
Now, just
look what I start
outside,
seeing.
let's start
So I can
painting
see this one
some
actually was
crust
done
in
in Photoshop.
crust
The
shade
reason you
rather
don't see
into
everything
our
there
pizza
because
slice.
it's not the
You'll notice
correct
that
aspect ratio.
Fresco
But I can
supports
go
the
back if I
mixing
have
of
the
different
Photoshop
types of
file
media.
And of
So
course
even
I do
though
have.
we
I
do
didn't put it
have
in there.
oil
I do
paint
have the
here,
layered
we
Photoshop
can
file, and I
add
can go
soft
back and change
pastel on
and do
top of
different
it. We can
combinations
then
in
go
here.
in
So what I have
to
here is
our
not one image, I
color
have like
wheel,
16 images.
grab some
But
white,
what if
maybe
I
make
don't
our
like what I
brush a
have
little
here
bit
and I want
smaller,
to
and just
replace or
paint
delete the
some
image? Let's say
little
replace.
highlight
I'm going to
on
go in
top
and
of our
upload the
crust,
photo,
which
and in
might
this
read
case I
as
might go into the art
flower.
and music, and then I'm
So
just going to
that's
go
not too
in
bad.
and
And
put,
let's
like,
go
let's say
down.
the
We can
screenshot with the
now
violin.
actually invert
So you can
our
see
selection.
here
If we go
again,
under the ellipses tool on the bottom and tap on invert selection, we can go in beneath. I'm going to add a new layer rather than putting this on the crust layer in case I need to change this or change some opacity. I'm going to add a new layer. It's always helpful to work in a modular way. And I'm just going to drag some of this color onto, or rather tone, onto my artboard.
I'm just making
and
it like this,
I can
and then it's
now
a little
just
subtitle.
pull that down a little
so
bit.
I'm going to call it Enjoy.
And similar to what we did before,
follow the music.
if I want to move these, or let's say I want to duplicate these, let's
so
deselect,
really
and let's go into our layers, and I'm going to tap, drag down, tap, and drag down to create a nice layer stack. Go into my move tool. I'm going to make this smaller and move it off to the side. I'm going to give it a little pivot and say OK.
Click on the word themes.
That's fine. That just means that there's some artwork outside the boundaries that we can't really see. I'm OK with that. I'm going to tap my ellipses icon. Let's duplicate that layer. Go to Move. We can rotate. And it's starting to look like a pizza party.
So I'm going to go back here, and where are the free ones?
We can even take an entire layer stack and move it on top of another layer stack. So now if I want to move this whole thing as a unit and manipulate it as a unit, I can do that as well.
And soon they start adding more and more because people ask them.
So the freeform selection tool enables freehand drawing that restricts drawing painting within a selection similar to a mask. The live paint oil brush provides the natural media look and feel of oil paint, including blending qualities that can be controlled. Adding layers is a great way to separate and control brush blending and other qualities. The digital oil and watercolor remains wet for future editing, even after closing and reopening the file. Layers and brush properties support blend modes, and the Move tool enables repositioning and resizing of individual layers. Now, stacking layers creates layer groups that can then be repositioned and resized as a unit.
So choose any one that you want.
So there may be some of you out there, doubters, haters, that are still saying, yeah, this drawing, painting stuff just isn't for me. I'm a really talented designer, but I cannot draw a stick figure. I mean, it's like it's really bad. So I don't see anything here for me. Well, stick with me. This is the last piece, and I think I'm saving the best for last here. This is actually one of my favorite parts of Fresco and what it does in terms of interoperability with the Creative Cloud ecosystem. Now, this time, we're not going to go with our standard square. We're going to create a custom size. So I want you to tap Custom over on the right-hand side for our new document. We're going to name this Coffee.
What do you want to do now? Do you want to add a photo?
Actually, let's name it Coffee Pot.
Do you want to start typing something? Do you want to have
and
a
we're going to say
with
OK.
the link?
For pixels, we are going to go to inches, and we are going to set it at, let's lock it, so our, no, hang on a second, let's do 16 inches by 16
How would you know which one to
inches.
use here? Because that's also very important.
And we want, so pixel size at 72, not good. We want to change that to 200 pixels per inch. White background is fine. And say create document. Notice we can say save this size, and it will save it to one of our saved presets. Okay, so coffee pot. We looked at all these different drawing tools. What if you really can't draw, right? And you got a blank screen here. You got to get some content on it. Well, fortunately, we can tap down on our little picture icon down here, which is a portal into Creative Cloud. And if we tap on that, notice we can access Illustrator Draw, we can access other mobile apps within the Creative Cloud mobile ecosystem. We can access Lightroom photos. But here's the area that we're going to focus on now is Creative Cloud libraries. So for those of you who have used Creative Cloud libraries, they're kind of like virtual style guides for using, for putting assets and logos and colorways and paragraph styles, character styles. I'd like you to navigate probably the only library in your collection, Fresco Booty Resources, and tap on that. And I'd like you all to go down to Carafe and tap on that. So this is a vector icon that's inside of your Creative Cloud library. When I tap open, it's going to take that vector icon, convert it to pixel-based art, download it from the Creative Cloud library, and insert it into this file. Now, once it drops in, we want to resize it, bring it to, roughly that size where we've got some nice white space around it. It could be a little smaller, a little bigger. And then once you get to the size, click Done. If you're not happy with the size, we can always go back in and tap the move icon and reposition it. But again, once you're happy with it, just click Done. Let's create, actually before we do that, let's do something we haven't done before. We're going to take this content, we just brought content in from a Creative Cloud library, it converted vector art into pixel-based art. We're going to tap our ellipses icon along the right toolbar where it says Mask Layer Contents. So I'd like you to tap that. It's going to tell us that it's converting an image layer into a pixel layer. Now it already was a pixel layer, but it's taking it and turning, basically extracting it from the white background that it's on to turn it into a mask. We're going to say Convert.
So what if
and
I wanted
we can see this time
just to put an image?
We still have our
so I click on the plus,
mask icon, which is sort of a white silhouette, but we still have our artwork here. Now if I toggle onto the artboard, we can see the artwork still here, but I'd like you all to erase it. So go to your eraser icon, take the size of your eraser brush, bring it up to 512, which is the maximum size, and just erase it. Now, if we toggle back from our artboard view to our mask, it's still there. It's just an underlying mask.
So look what you have
so
here.
let's now go into our water brush tool. We're going to choose the watercolor spatter that we've used before. I'd like you to find a nice brown color, sort of the color of coffee. You remember we can check our properties here to see how that's going to start painting out. Then tap off of that and then start tapping inside your artboard. And you can go, pretty haphazard. You can go light, dark, but just start filling in that carafe. Now, in my case, I'd like certain parts of it to be darker than other parts. Like I'd like the coffee part to be much darker. So I'm really going to color in that part and leave the outer part a little bit lighter. And we're starting to get like more of a distressed looking icon here. And again, you don't have to be perfect. Just swap things down. We can fix it later. Let's go to our selection tool, and we're going to go back to our familiar circle icon. Well, this time I'd like you to create a new layer, or it looks like I have one here, but if you don't, just create a new layer and drag it beneath your carafe. Draw a circle. This one can be a little more of a perfect circle, not so much of an oval that we saw before. Don't worry if it's not perfectly centered. Once it becomes a selection, we're going to go into our familiar ellipses more icon at the bottom, and we're going to transform the selection and just center it as best as you can behind your carafe. Let's go to our paint bucket tool. Let's go to our color selection tool. Let's choose a nice yellow color. I'm going to go a little bit gold on that one. If you want to use the HSB sliders, I would suggest 50 100
Now
and a
maybe
brightness
I
of
want to
50
go and have
ought
few
to do it.
images about the music
Go
center.
into your paint
And
bucket
what do we
tool
have,
and
let's say, in the
tap
music
anywhere
center? In the
inside.
music
Again,
center, we
it's going to
have
prompt you, do I want vector
the
or
Dorothy
pixel?
Chandler,
This
we
time
have
we're
all
going to
the
go with
theaters.
pixel.
So we
I'm
have
going to
some
totally
kind of
fill
components
in
the
our
music
color.
center. So maybe
Next,
I
I'd
want
like
to
you
go
to add a
in
new
and
layer
click on
on
the
top
plus
of or in
sign and
between
maybe
the
do
yellow
something called a
circle
glide
and
show,
the carafe.
because I want to show you what it
Let's
is.
go into
In the
our
glide show,
pixel
they're going
brush
to ask you to
tool. We're
upload
going
a
to go
photo
under
that
FX
maybe will have
and
some fun
let's
stuff
find
from the music
our
center. So I'm
ink
going to go back here to the
stains
Spark
brush.
images.
We're going to
I
go
have art
back
and music
into our color
images,
picker,
and then maybe
and
I have
we can
something,
pick
and this
a
some of
nice,
these images I just
fairly
downloaded
large
it
size
from the
there,
internet. Actually, it's not even
and
mine.
just start
You see
painting
them. I have one here.
inside
I mean, you can make your own stuff
your
too.
carafe.
And none of them
It
I
doesn't
actually
have to be
ended up
perfect. We're sort of
doing a
filling
combination.
in
I can
this
take it to
space with
Photoshop and
white.
make a collage.
You may
But I
recall when we
decided to
use
go
our
in,
modifier,
let's say, to this
our
one.
touch
The one
modifier.
that
If I
has,
tap that with my
next to the
finger,
music center
it will turn
is
that
the
into
Disney
a
Hall, which is
brush.
kind of part of the music center
My
nowadays.
rather
And
the
I'm gonna
brush
go
into
and
an
click
eraser,
OK.
and so I can take out some of this glow if I want, and then I can
And then
release
I'm
it
gonna
and
save.
add
And look
some
what
glow back
happens.
in if I
When you
decide that
save it,
I
that's what
like
they
that
call
better,
it the
or if I
glide
want to
show.
change the size of my brush, I can do that as well.
Do you see that?
Okay,
Always like,
so we
and
still
when
have
do
our
I do
selection,
that?
we still have
I
our
will do
gold color.
that when
Let's
I
go
actually have a
in
story to tell
and
about that.
add
So,
one
because I have
more
different kind
layer
of components. So I'm gonna go to,
and
before
go
doing
to
anything,
our
I'm
yellow
gonna
color.
click
We can
here
pick it
to
from the
my
swatch,
Spark
but
and
now we
social
want to make
media,
this a
and I'm
little
gonna
bit
double click on
darker.
the text.
And then
And I
let's
have
go
LA Art and
into
Music,
our
another
pixel
LA Art and
tools.
Music,
We're going to look
and then I
for
have something that
the
says text for Adobe
dusty
Spark, and then this one
brush,
is actually
and we're
about
going to
my
go
art.
in
Some
and we're
people
just
say, I
going
like
to
to do
start
something with the art. You see,
spreading
I
some
have like a
dust
statement when I
inside
paint with colors
of
and
our
expectation and different kind of section and things like this.
distressed
I'm gonna go
icon.
in and look at this
After
one.
we've
What
done
do I
that,
have
we
here?
can go
This
in,
is something
let's go
about
down to our
art and music
yellow
in downtown LA, and
icon,
something about
I'm sorry,
the
our
music
yellow
center.
circle,
But I have another
tap
one
the
that has
modifier
something
tool. It's going to
about
turn that
attraction and
dusty
use
brush
in
into
LA,
an
and
eraser,
something like this.
and we're going
You
to
see here,
start
text
actually
for
erasing
art and music
some of the
DTLA,
yellow
and then the music center
in
and other
our
stuff that
tool.
I have. So maybe I can go and double click, let's say,
Now,
on
if
this
we
one.
find that we might need a little
might
more
open the other one
brown
too, but you
or
can
coffee
see
color
here,
in our
I
coffee
can see the
carafe, we
stuff
can go
that I
back
have,
in, we can go
and
back
then all
to
of a
our
sudden I'm gonna
watercolor
go
spatter
in
brush,
and look at the
back
stuff,
down,
and I
and
have
just
something
start
art
adding
and
that
music.
in, because
So
again,
you see
it's
here,
a
the
mask,
first
and so
one
we're
is the music
painting
hall.
in
Unfortunately, I
the
don't have
mask,
another
and
one
it's
that I
going to
want to work with,
constrain
so we'll
the
duplicate the
color
text
to
and write
being
about
inside
it, right?
the mask,
So let's say
and then
I'm
once
gonna
we're happy
highlight
with
that,
that, we
and
are
I'm gonna
all
copy it.
done. So,
And then I'm
Fresco
gonna go
enables
back
access
to my
to and
Spark.
placement of
And I'm
CC
gonna go in
library
here.
assets,
And on the
including
plus sign, I
shapes
want to say
created in
first I want
Capture.
to add
We didn't talk about
some
Capture, but
kind
you
of
can take
photos.
the
So I'm
shape
going to click on
tool
the photo,
in Capture, and
and
that'll
in
save
the
your
upload,
artwork as
if
a
it goes
shape,
to
as a
the art
vector
and
shape.
music, we'll
It'll
pretend
take
they are
that
different
same shape
places.
and
I'm going to
convert
do the
it
Dorothy
and drop it in
Chandler.
just like it did with this
I'm going
carafe.
to hold on the
Placed
command
assets
key
can
and
be
click
easily
the other
masked
image of
to
the
support
art and
creative
music.
fills
I'm
and
going
brush
to bring
effects.
in another look
Holding
for
down the
it.
touch icon turns the
And
selected
I'm
brush
gonna go
into an
in,
eraser.
and that's it for
Now, we
now,
didn't do
right?
it here
And I
because,
click
again,
open.
Fresco saves your
So
artwork
you'll
by
see in a
default to
minute, look what you
Cloud
have
Docs,
here.
and we're going to see in a minute, we're going to pick this
You're gonna have
artwork
different
up
kind of
in
areas over
Photoshop
here.
and
This
turn
is
it into a
just for
pattern.
the art
The
and
content
music
can be
that you
saved
have.
as a
If I
PNG,
go all the
JPEG,
way up and
PSD,
move
or
to it,
PDF
I can start
when we go
looking in my
through
glide
the
show what I
export
have.
and publish
So I'm going to
option
go into the plus
inside
sign
of Fresco.
here
So
and click
let's
on
save
the
this.
text, but since I know already, I'm going to paste. So you see what I have? The Disney
And take it
Music
to the
Hall,
next step.
and I'm going to go in and do it something like align to the center. And then if I want to tell a story about it or add a caption, I can add a caption of what it is, but I also can go now to my stuff, and then I can go back here and tell a story, something about it, right? So I'm going to copy it over here, and then go back here to this area, and go to text and paste it. And you see here, that's going to tell me a story, and maybe I want to do it bold or something like that. Do you see that? So already I have a little story about this area. Does that make sense? Then I can go back here and just click down and then decide what this one is. So this is Disney Musical. Well, I did just the opposite. So, I mean, whatever the image is, I can go in actually to the image itself and click here and replace the image. And I can put here the Disney instead of that. And then I can go back here and put this one here, and that's the Disney Music Hall. Does that make sense? And now I can go down, and it's a glide show. When do I do that? When I have other stuff. So I'm going to go to this one and reflect it, and then go back here, upload another photo, and I'm going to go in and put the Dorothy Chandler. And over here, if I go to my text, I can go back here. I have the Dorothy Chandler Pavilion. So I can copy that, and I can go into my main area and click on that and add a text and paste that, and then I can go in here, and I'm gonna go in and make that, I think oops, I went to the wrong area, and I'm gonna go back to my Spark, and I'm gonna make that again the same thing like the other one. And I don't want to have this little dot here. That's okay. I copied it by mistake and put it in the center, and I can have information about Dorothy Chandler. Does that make sense? So I can even copy and paste that for the sake of that right now. Because if I go back here and I'm going to do text, I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to have that. And I like it. I like to have it the same font, the same thing. I mean, like if it's italic, it's all of them going to be italic. And then you can see here, this is going to be like some kind of a glide show. And then I can continue and continue, right? If I want to look at it, I can look even into a presentation mode. The good news about presentation mode, if you have some links, you can even click on the links. So I can add another link over here and then go back here, and you see here, I basically see that, and I can go on and on. I can have a bunch of stuff there, right? So I'm going to click to get out of it. And what if I wanted to create some kind of link to beginning, just so people that are going to say, you know, maybe I don't have time to look at it right now, but I might create a little link, and you can go in and up. So what you can do, you can click on top of that. Let's create a button. And in the button, you can give it a name. So you can say DTLA Places. And then you can go in and make that to the center. And now you can go in and do www.dtla.com or find a real link that's going to be part of it. And then you're going to go and save. So you see here, if I click on it now, it's going to ask me to edit it. But if I'm going to go into the presentation mode, and that will be a good link, it will go into an area I see for Liz in downtown LA, because that's what it did right now. But it can be here, go to a music, go to anything. It's live already for you. Does that make sense? Right away as soon as I did that. And if I go back out, so I can always change that. I can even do that here. And then you see here, that's what I like to. See, I put just a generic image, and I saw an exclamation, a mark here that's a mistake. It will tell you low resolution image. This image format works best with large images. Smaller images like this one will appear blurry. So it's not so good. So they're already telling you, find an image for the presentation that's going to look good for you to right away, and now you can start working with it and start playing. Does that make sense? So I'm going to listen to that. And then I can go back here. I'm going to go in right now to my pages, because I wanted to show you already. Look what I have here. If I go home now and say, yo, I don't like it, look what I can start doing. I can start editing the project, or if I like part of it, I can duplicate this project and start editing it. So if I want to see it both ways in different kind of themes, I'm not going to do it right now. If I kind of like the theme, I might going to go back here and say duplicate. And in the duplicate copy, I'll say another theme. So let's say I'm going to call that there's a theme that I think talks about night. So I'm going to say night to remind me. I forgot the name of that. So I'm going to go back here and look at this. In a minute, it is going to do it for you right away. I mean, now, right away, depending on the... And then look at this. So now I want to edit night. It's not night yet. But I'm going to go back here and I'm going to go find the theme that I was talking about it. Oh, it's nightcap. Well, it wasn't that far. So I'm going to go into nightcap and look at that now. If you go back here, look what you start having. The font looks a little bit different, a lot bolder. I cannot change. Another thing, the fast training also, look at that. Welcome to downtown LA, Los Angeles. Do you see the Los is here? The Angeles is there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there's no way you can do a shift return over here. So what I do a lot of time, I'll select that and say, maybe I want it to be just that. So now it's going to look a little bit better. Or if I want it to be back, maybe I'm going to go here, welcome to DTLA. I'm going to work sometime with the phone and then like do this. Does that make sense? And then in places here, I can go in and edit the stuff that I have. This one is my button. It looks a little bit better, different.
Yeah.
So because it's dark on top of something. This one's gonna go in and look at that. So now everything is looking with this one, but I didn't hurt the other one. Because I can tell you one thing, I went through a lot of stuff until I remembered what it is. And I will go in and change something and say, oops, I don't like it. I'm like,
No, I
ooh,
think
it's not really there.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's kind of like what you go with it. And then if I don't like this theme, I can go into the crisp, and then now it's going to be that, and then everything is going to look nice and cool, and now I can go in and start checking. So it's good to check. And once again, I know I'm repeating myself. If you want the images to do with any frame or anything, I can show you how to do a fast frame in Photoshop, and that's going to go and be in there. But you see, this is a nice and clean. And then welcome, and you have all the stuff here. So now let's say I decide to stay here. Now I want to go and add more stuff. So I can go in and maybe I want to create some other stuff. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to go in and say the art district. And I'm selecting all of it and I'm going to make it bold. Now I'm going to make it like this one and then click here, and that's what I have, the art district. Hopefully the other one looks the same because I don't even remember. Oh yeah, the music center, the art district. But now maybe I want to talk to somebody about the art district, but I want to show them a lot of images from a gallery. So I am going to go back here and click on photo grid. And in the photo grid, you can go click upload the photos, and then you can go into different areas that you have here. So in this one, art and music, I actually have a lot of images from the Wirth Gallery, downtown LA. So you can see this one, this image I created in Photoshop. I took different kind of areas and I decided to make a wow thing with it. So maybe I'm not going to put it here now, but I'll put it later. But then I have exhibit in the board. But here I have an exhibit from there. So I'm going to select 1 and 2 and 3 and then hold down the command key and maybe go in and see if I have another one. Let's say this one. And I'm going to go and click open. So look what I get here. Over here, I'm getting a grid of images. So when do you do that? I'm going to show you in a minute about some other stuff that I did, and you do a grid for stuff. It's basically when you're creating stuff for images that you want to go and just have images that all of the images are photography. So then you're going to call it landscape. And then you're going to call it portraits. And then it's going to call it magical and all kind of stuff like this. In this case, I called that and I went back here and you save the grid. And this is the grid that you have. You can add a caption over here. Also, I can tell it what it is. So I might go into my text again. And then I have the art and music in the layer over here, and the different areas about the arts and music. There's a blurb about the music center, and this one is these are the gallery that I have here. So I might go in and double click on the second one, and it opens. And basically it's different areas, not all of them actually are downtown, but I just put it there. It's more like the thing that I like. But this one is the Hauser and Wirth gallery. So I'm gonna go in and copy that. And then go back to and click over here and do a paste. And that could be maybe my little subtitle. So it's not gonna be as big as galleries in the district. Does that make sense? Because maybe I'm gonna do 7 galleries in the district. Does that make sense? Or you want to do different thing about your portfolio. One thing already, the best thing is to prepare the text ahead of time and then have it. Because sometimes I'll know how to do stuff, but the rest of the stuff, so I can go back here and maybe create a link to that. I know I have the link already, so I'm going to go back here and see all the way down I have a link. So I might put it as a link or I might put it as a button. It depending on the stuff that I want to have. So I can go in, and before that I'm going to highlight all the stuff about Hauser and Wirth, this one. And then copy. It's just a description. Where did I take it from? The internet for this, in this case. A lot of time I'm going to write something that I like, right? So I'm going to go at the caption, and then I'm going to tell it images from the last fall show 2019. If I remember the name of the show, of course I'm going to go and put the stuff on it. But I'm going to call back here and I click on the text and I'm just going to paste. And you see how the text comes. It comes like this. So I'm going to cut it out, and then I'm going to go put it here and paste. And if I want it to be kind of like as one sentence here, yes, I can make this one like that, and this is the description.
Okay. But it has to be separate, right?
It is separate. If you don't want to separate it, you have to copy and paste. Yeah.
Okay.
So now, after having that, maybe I want to go back to my thing and then copy the web. And then I'm going to go in here and decide, do I want to have it as a link or do I want to have it as a button? If you want to have it as a link, you're going to click here and edit as text. And then I'm going to go in and paste it. And while you paste it, you click on the link. Do you see that? And then you're going to go back here and you have to put the link in here. And then I can go back here and put it to the center. So this is the difference between a link and a button. A button, you can tell it what it is. So I can say, go to YouTube to open the beautiful images of this artist, and then over there. So you can go to outside and inside stuff that you have. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. If I wanted it to be actually next to this area, I could have actually exit out, and I can go back here and paste. So you see it's going to be here, and then I'm going to go to this one, and once again you have to do that. So you see I have it something like that. If I want to really check it right now, let's say I'm going to go into that, and I want to make this one to the center, and this one is looking like this. I can go now, and I'm going to go into my presentation mode. And now you'll see that the link that you just made, if you click on it, it will go into the it will go into the gallery. You see that? It goes to the Hauser, it goes to the area, because I did a generic click. I didn't do the downtown only. I just did into the main galleries, because maybe I wanted people to check the location, to check the event, to check the education, whatever. I'm giving people an idea where to go and what to do. So it is going to go back here and go back here. And by the way, if you live around downtown LA, I highly recommend to go to this place. It's absolutely amazing.
Where is
If
it
you,
at? I've never been
it is downtown on 3rd Street,
there. Okay.
in the center of the art district,
Okay.
and they have a beautiful restaurant actually in there.
Oh, okay, nice.
And there's a lot of really great stuff with it, and they have education, and they have, it's free. I think it's closed Mondays and Tuesday. I'm not that
okay.
sure.
Yeah, I see it now.
Mhm.
It's pretty new.
And it came like 3 or 4 years ago, and it
Yeah.
came directly from. There's one in New York, and one I think they originally is in Zurich,
Okay.
and they have a lot of presentation there.
Yeah,
So you
okay,
can see what I do with a lot of them. Actually, what you see here, it's actually a combination of few images. I pile it together and I put it there. I love going there to shoot a lot of brick, because I have amazing little brick textures and
yeah.
everything like this. Does that make sense? So now let's say I want to try another one, and then we'll go to the next one. The next one I'm going to try, let's say, we're going to click on another one, and let's say I'm going to go back here, and then I'm going to call it the Broad. Another beautiful place that you have downtown. I'm going to make that as a main title. And I might go in and add some information about the Broad, which I have. So if I click on text here, I might go into my area here, and you can see here I do have stuff about the Broad. So you can see here I do the stuff about the Broad, and I can copy it. I might even copy it with the link and then change it to the link. And then I'm going to go back here and then click and paste. And right away you see this one comes over here. Maybe I'm going to exit out and then go in and paste it here and highlight that and make it into a link. It's up to you, or you could have made it as a button. It's just different things that you have. But what if I want to tell the story about the Broad? And in this case, I want to tell part of the story and part of something about it. So you have something called split screen. This is also great for products and different kind of thing to explaining. So you can have different images. You can see you have grid. You have the glide show for certain thing. So I'm going to click here. And in this case, I'm going to do split grid. And this is what I get. So I can go back here and upload a general images, let's say about the Broad. So I do have a nice image about the Broad, and maybe I'm going to go back here and open it. I have an image over here. And then here you can go in and tell any story that you want. So maybe you can tell a shorter story than the big story that I had, because maybe it was too much. So maybe over here, I would choose to go back here and paste the stuff here, and then just gonna go in and do that. Or I'm gonna paste the entire story and have the stuff here. But maybe I'm gonna do that and make it as another link. And then maybe over here, I'm gonna go in and put another photo. So if I have another photo for the Broad, I'm going to go and look at that. This is Howard, and that's another gallery there. Look how gorgeous it is. But this is like an image from the Broad. So I'm going to go in and open it. And if I remember the name of that, I think his name,
Japanese name.
what?
Japanese name.
Yeah, I know it's something, which I know because he's visiting Adobe Max next week
Oh,
to talk
really?
about his
Oh,
stuff,
really?
and I'm very excited.
that's pretty good.
Right? So whatever it is, you can do the caption of the stuff. You can put anything like this. You can put another button. You can even find here and open a video. So if you have like an embedded video that you have somewhere, even from YouTube, you can go back here and put anything that you have. If you have even a link that you have from your Spark video, you can put it anywhere that you have there. But let's say if I have this kind of a video here, and then let's say if I can go back here, I'm just putting like a video that you have here. And then maybe I'm going to right click, copy video URL, right? I just copy the video URL, and I'm going to go in and put it back to here. You might have some limitation, but I'm going to go and put it here and save. So you see what I have here right away?
Yeah.
It's also put the thumbnail of it, and now you can watch the movie and do anything that you have. So let's look at a scenario. What if you did create a product and then part of the class or not in the class, you're even taking a video? Use that like this, you know, kind of stuff like this. You can go ahead and put it in there. You can also do an instructional video that's part of your Adobe Spark video. What does it mean? I can go back to my Adobe Spark video and copy a URL in there as well. So you didn't maybe have any Adobe Spark video, but I can go back my regular Adobe Spark, or if I remember it by heart. A lot of time what I do is I search all my links and I put them all together. So you want to be kind of organized. If you're looking at it for a minute, look what I have here. I'm going to call it Spark Links. See what I have? I have Spark Published. Look at that. I already have stuff that I published already. So if I want to go and put it in something else, I can go in and put it in the stuff that I have here, and then I can have like another presentation. So let's say Spark presentation, let's say meeting, let's say presentation. See, I have all my Sparks already, so I don't have to look for them the whole time. And then you see here Spark DTLA. Here that this is the one I told you about that I already did. So if I copy that and I just either go into this Spark here and then go all the way up here and say, let's say for more information, let's say I'm going to click here and then for more info, because I don't want to do another one, right? I'm going to click over here and I'm going to click on the center and click save. Now if I'm going to go to a presentation mode, it will take me to my other Spark presentation. If I click here, look where it's going now. Remember I told you I did a whole one about downtown LA with real thing. So look at that. So explore the magic of DTLA. I put in, this is Photoshop. This is like 6 images in Photoshop, and I put inside the Adobe Max sample, right? And then if you go back here, you can start seeing everything about that, and this is a split screen. And then look what I did here. I have a link to a convention center. So if you say, well, I got it, I don't know where I'm going, now you know. Right? And I did that. And then images. And then art and music. So Disney Music Hall. So that's just 2 images. And then the Broad. And I have a glide, it's like a big image. And then I have that. And here's a glide show. And then I have another one here. And the music center. And the Mocha. You see here, different kind of things. And everything else has a button here. So this is the art district. So what I did here, I have the image of the front of the area. And then I have a link to the stuff already here. And where to go and what to do. And then I have another, the Denk Gallery. So another gallery, the downtown LA. A split screen. And this one, the last bookstore. Do you see that? So take your picture here. This I did in Photoshop. So I took an image, and actually I didn't have a good clear image that I had myself. So I went to their website, I downloaded it. There was a picture of another person. I cannot use her. So what I did in Photoshop, I selected her, I made from her a silhouette. Nobody knows she's there, right? Made from a JPEG and then said, take your picture here. So it gives you an example, that's what I did. And then this is the area where it is, and then how to get there. More in downtown LA, I have other places, and then stuff about food. So you can see, you can do some regular stuff. Everything has a link. So if somebody gets that, you can get that. Then you can do also stuff about yourself. So if somebody, I'm sending it to them, and they say, well, would you like to see my Instagram? You can go back here, and basically all the way here, you can see your stuff that you have. So say, oh yeah, this is so cool, but how did you do that? Well, whatever it is, I have some little video on drawing some stuff or whatever it is. Does that make sense? So you start kind of like dividing to the areas that you have and do that. So let's say I wanted to go in and publish the one that I just did. What do? I'm going to do share. In the share, you publish and share a link. At the moment, there's a new one. You can print it. You basically can print that or make a PDF. This is really cool because sometimes you want to present and have a cheat sheet. You know what my cheat sheet is. I put another one here and I do both, right? So I look at that. But when you print, I already want to tell you, it doesn't look exactly like this because it takes what you have and makes a little PDF from it, so it's not as engaging. And then you have invite, and this is new. You can basically go back here and invite a person to be part of it. But if I just gonna share, I'm share and I'm publishing it. So let's say I'm gonna go and publish it. I'm gonna give it a story. I'm gonna select a category. So let's say this is an event. You can also go in and click on, so people are going to see you. Maybe one day they're going to know who you are. Do you want to see what the author or not? Sometimes I'm hiding myself because I have something that's not so cool and I say, you know what, I'm going to present it, but I don't want to see myself. Then you can get photo credit. Super important. Because if you end up using somebody, you can call them and say, you know what, I'm using it for education. I'm going to say, thank you, Kelly, it's Kelly, right? Mm-hmm. Thank you, Kelly, for lending me the image. You can find Kelly at www. Or my images are all mine. Or Adobe Spark for presentation only, or whatever you have. And then you can put here to get notice or not. That's to tell you if they love it, they're going to put it somewhere. And then I'm going to say create link. And when you create the link, that's it. Now you can put it anywhere. So let's say you can right away post it in Facebook, Twitter, Classroom, Google Classroom if you're a teacher, in an email and embed it in your website too. And also I can just copy it and put it anywhere that I want. So now I can send somebody a message or something like that and tell them, you know, I created something, please check it out, and they can check it and you can do it. You're just going to get a link, and in the link you're going to click on it and see it, and it's going to be just a presentation or whatever you do. So if I'm going to go in and copy it, and let's say I'm going to paste it over here, that's going to be my Adobe Spark, and this is part of my stuff here. And then right now I cannot do any changes to it, but that's a link. And then DTLA places, and you can see this is the slideshow for more information. This is the grid. This is the split screen, even with this one. So this is like whatever it is, a trend. I don't know if it has stuff or not, but create a trend, customize stuff, get started with Adobe Spark, and it shows you how to do it. And then maybe it doesn't even have some sound on it. If you have a sound, you will hear the sound. Absolutely everything that you have, and they're showing you how to do it. So it's basically inside my stuff that I just have. And then if I go back here, I think I just went here and whatever it was, there was a sound there, but I think my sound did not work. But you can get the idea, right? So that's it. Now you can continue and do the stuff. Again, you don't like the professor doesn't like it, the theme that you're working and collaborating it, duplicate. A lot of time I do like 3 duplications right away. And just give it different names as long as I know which one I want to do, and then now I can go to town and play with it. Does that make sense? Any questions so far? Nice and easy, right? How cool is it? That's the nice stuff with it. The thing is, if you want to go in and change some stuff, so I just put stuff here. So let's say I have, working with Adobe, like I say, I can go and put some stuff like this. Let's say I did a social media that looked like this, and I wanted it to go inside post. I already selected it, so I can make a PNG from it. So we're going to do some stuff in a minute in post, so you're going to see that. Then extra PS files. So this is different kind of Photoshop files that you have here, And you can see here creating a logo, creating all kind of stuff. If you wanted to go and use stuff like this, you can go in and select different kind of working with PS, and you see here there's different kind of images. So if I wanted to go in already and do stuff like this, that's Photoshop. If I wanted to do stuff that look like this is Photoshop. Do you see that? So different kind of thing you can create in Photoshop and then put it inside your Spark. Does that make sense?
But like only we can put PNG or
PNG or JPEG at the moment. I don't think you'll ever do a Photoshop because they think that people are going to use it basically sometimes not even using Photoshop. This JPEG. Because if you start doing it, that's the linking and all the stuff, and that makes life a lot harder. So I don't know if they're going to cater for that. I'm not sure. I don't want to say stuff that I'm not sure about. But, you know, this one, you create that. And so to do something more engaging, of course, you need some kind of knowledge in Photoshop, because then you put it in there and you say, wow, this image is really beautiful. How did you do that? Well, I did that by creating stuff with Photoshop ahead of time, and that's how I made it happen. Does that make sense? So now we are going to go in back to Spark. And then this one is, I'm going to close that. And I'm going to go into the regular area here. I'm going to go back to that. And let's say, see here I have two. One says night, one says the regular. And then again, I can go back here. I don't like it, I can delete it. I don't like, oops. I mean, they show different kind of project and all kind of stuff that people do or whatever it is. I'm not going to do that. But whatever it is, if I didn't like, let's say, this one anymore or this one, I can basically unpublish it or absolutely delete it. And delete is deleting it forever. And that's it. And that's when in, see, it's not there anymore. You can also unpublish. So the next thing we're going to look at, we're going to go in and click on plus. And in this case, I'm going to start from scratch and I'm going to go into graphics. So look what you have here. I'm going to go start from scratch and I'm going to click graphics. Graphics is basically doing like social media posts, but it's not just social media posts. People think it's only for Instagram. And this is when it starts being so fun. Let's say tomorrow, you're in your class and you don't have, like, you have a knowledge on Illustrator and everything, but a lot of people sitting in the class, they know Word, and one of the class project is create an immediate flyer, certain size, not just necessarily social media, about this and this, to invite people to see your program. And you say, whoa, should I go to Word? Word will take me forever and the images are horrible and not aligning. So I basically can go in and go back here to this area, and then I'm going to go in to my project and then I'm going to go and start and do graphics, and then start from scratch here. And why doesn't it go in to start from scratch? I'm going to go back here to graphics. And I'm going to go back to here, this arrow. Sorry. And I'm going to go to my graphics, and I'm going to go back all the way down, and this is my branding that I have. For some reason it doesn't let me go to start from scratch over here. What is it? Is it letting you do that?
Yeah, like this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is from class. I didn't find Splash.
Yeah.
Go.
Something is very weird on mine. I'm just going to do Spark.
Maybe reload the
Yeah.
page, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to go in and start it, and then I'm going to go back here. I'm going to start for graphics, and then graphics, and then start from scratch. Yay! Yeah, sometimes you have to reload it, right? So now look what you have. The square is very popular because you know where it's going. The social post, so you can go in. Look what you have in social post. I gave you a cheat sheet about sizes, but you basically don't need it if you have that, right? So you can see here the Instagram story, regular Instagram, Instagram landscape, Facebook, Pinterest, everything. Let's say social profile. Look at that. Banners, standard, custom, and then the most popular one, and they have that. So let's say I'm going to click even, or you can do a poster, right? I'm just going to click poster. I actually never did that. Because most of the time I do Instagram here, because I do my posters in Photoshop and Illustrator, but it's just going to go back here. They give you inspiration images that you can use, actually, over here. Or upload any photo that you want. So you can go back to any photo that you want and then just go in and open. And then go back here and do next. And now you're going to go back here to the area. And it's a little slow on me, but look what I have here. Already I have that here. So let's say you're going to say, what if I wanted to do stuff with it? I can go in and rotate it, the image, not that I want to do that. I can go in and scale it. I can go in and flip it. Do you see that? All the way up here, I can go and add some stuff. I can add an image. I can filter it, and I can do a color filter already. But let's say this is the beginning of my poster. I can go and add. What can I add on it? I can add a logo, an icon, and a photo or a text. So I'm going to go and add another photo. And I'm going to go in and add another little photo on it. And that's going to be maybe this one. And now you can see here, he added the photo over here, and now you can make a decision. Which one is important? What if you wanted something, and just you want to do like this little guy here. Again, beautifying it and making completely with dressed up filters and adjustment layers and all kind of crazy stuff, that's Photoshop, right? That I have here. Now I'm going to go back here and double click on the text. And then I'm going to go back here and say Halloween party. And then I can go back here and just decide if I want it like this, if I want it like that. You see here? I'm just going to go and put it somewhere. Then look what I have over here. They're giving you other samples here. If you want to do it part of these samples that you have here. They're also giving you the shapes. So I can go in and click on this shape and this shape and this shape for the party and this. You see all this stuff here? Depending how I want. These are the given ones that you have. They're giving you some stuff over here. And then, by the way, when you go to the device, you can make kind of a tiny little animation. Not crazy one, but the tab is going to look like this. It's not on the web. It's only in here. Okay? So it's only on your device. You can go back here and do. You can do some padding on it. You see that? What if you wanted to do it like this? And then you can go into the colors. The first colors that you see on mine, this is for my brand. Do you see that? Because remember, my branding has this color. But this one are other colors. So I might do stuff that's looking like this because it's Halloween. And then I'm going to go in and do stuff like that. Or maybe I can go in and do stuff that looks like this. And now I have kind of like an area. And then I can go in and duplicate the text. I can edit the text. And then the effect. The effect doesn't have a lot of stuff here. If I go back here to a shadow, it's going to do a little shadow. If you're going to go into outline, it's going to do outline. It's going to do a cutout. A lot of people love doing that. So you see a cutout of your image. You're going to do cutout as a shadow, or you can go all the way down and do other kind of stuff and do the design. I'm just going to go in and just say none for now. I just made stuff that looks like this. Now I have some style. So in the style, it is suggested style. So you see what happens? It goes into the style of the text and moves it around between areas that you have. So let's say I like this Halloween party that goes through my font or whatever it is and doing stuff like this. Ooh, that looks kind of great. But I might not like the shapes. So I can go into the padding and I'm going to go into the shape, and then I'm going to go in and do like kind of a simple shape, something just like that. And then I'm gonna go in and put it here, and then I'm gonna go into the colors, and then I'm just gonna go in and just change that. And you can see here, whatever you do here, you can also rotate it and do kind of like anything that you want. And then you're gonna go back here and click none over here, or maybe you're gonna just do a drop shadow of it. And I'm trying to get rid of the shape because there's a place that I think there's kind of no shape.
If you start the none, that one on the left, to the left, with that circle with the X through it.
This one?
Under backing shape.
This?
No, to the left, the backing shape, right below. Yeah, that one.
Oh, that's a none. Yeah, that was what I was looking for. Thank you. Yay! See, I always forget where everything is. And see here, I put a Halloween party. So now it's more Halloween-y, right? So what if I have an image that I want to go in and add, and I can decide, what if I have like, I don't know, I have an image that maybe it's going to have like kind of a ghost. I don't have a ghost here, but if I had one, that would be wonderful. And I can go and put some stuff. I maybe had one actually in my Creative Cloud or something like this. So I can go back here to my Creative Cloud, and then I can go back here and see if I have some stuff there, and then I can have some files. And then before that, maybe I remember I used to have kind of a skull somewhere, but maybe I don't. So what if I don't want to have any kind of stuff here and don't have another image here? So I also can go in and add some kind of an icon, and this is kind of like not so beautiful, but I'm gonna call it Halloween, and hopefully it's gonna start looking for that. So you see here, you're basically gonna go in and do woo, you have stuff like this. There's a given icons. You see that? So if I don't want this one, I can go in and play that. I can play with the opacity. I can play with kind of like going in. It's going to be the top one, and I'm going to go back to the opacity. I can flip it a little bit to this side, or if I'm going to replace the icon, maybe I'll find something that's more Halloween-y. And I have this stuff here. So I can go back here, and then I'm going to go back here and just, woo, you see I have that over here. And I have the stuff for like Halloween. So you see, you can do different kind of things that you have all the way up and down to all the area that you have. Then you have templates. And these are the templates that you have here. So I could have done everything just right away with the template and then start creating from that right away if I wanted. And then I'm going to go into the layout. So in the layout that you have, they have suggested layout. Do you see here? Maybe you didn't like the layout I just made and you suggested this one. Or you suggested that one. Or you suggested this one, and now you can load another thing that you have. So you can do different kind of layout. You can resize the layout, the different kind of stuff. You can also go in and create some standard these areas here. And basically everywhere that you have, you can go in, and then you can go also and download it as a PNG, as a JPEG, and then also as a PDF right now. And of course later you can go back here and you can go in and share that. So you can invite people to your post, but you can go in the same idea, publish it and invite. And here is the same kind of publishing. You can go into Facebook, Twitter, and all kind of stuff here, or just share a link. And as soon as you share a link, you can copy and paste it anywhere, and you do that. I have a tendency to download it and then put it anywhere. It doesn't have a link directly to Instagram, So I download it as a JPEG and just do that if I want to go in and do that if I have here. And then I can go back here to the template, and then over here I have also design. So if you go into the design, basically you're going to go in and have variation of your design that you're going to go and put out by default. If you want to go back and play with it, and again you can go in directly to the layout and then add some stuff. So if I'm going to go into some of the template, and I'm going to go in and create one of the template, so look at that. They already prepare for you a template for Halloween, and you can basically go back here to the template and then go back here and create the stuff, and you can do it differently, you know. You can go back here and say, I wanted the size of the text to do like this. I want the line spacing to be like that. I want to put it to here. And I want to go back here and change the color to this one. So basically you have different area here. This is an image that somebody put in here. See, I'm changing the layout. I'm going to change the content. I can go in and do different kind of things, and basically going to go back here and change the stuff back and forth to the font family and everything that you have. So kind of like you can do anything that you want here, and then you can go all the way up here, and then when you go all the way up, next to the add, you should see the theme, because they're gonna give you some theme by default already. I can undo and redo. I can go back here to the area here and just gonna go up and down, and then I can go in here and change that. So in this case, if I'm gonna fire up my iPad right now, you'll see I have some little animation in it, kind of like effects to it. I mean, it's not gonna actually record anything, so because we're not a lot of people, I can go in and show you on my iPad. And basically when you click on your iPad, you can start with something with this, and then you can go in and do some stuff that you want to work, and then you can see here it will look like that. Do you see that? So you have more or less all the stuff. You can start adding, designing, resizing, layout, and everything like that. But then you have effect here, and this is the one you don't have. And I'm gonna say hello. Okay.
Yeah.
And you see that, and you see this and kind of things. You can start shuffling the type. It's gonna go. They say they're gonna come to the web soon. To the thing, but right now it's not here. So let's say I'm gonna click here and do that. I'm gonna have the layout again with everything that I have here, and then when you and then I have different kind of design, and this is the regular one. You can have a design that look like that, different kind of design, and because it's Halloween now, you can see now they're giving you different kind of areas and how to look at it and some kind of inspiration. And then I'm gonna go back here and tell the text to look like that. So when you're going to share it now, they're going to ask you, do you want it as still image or animation? You do not have it on the web. Does that make sense? So these are the things that are a little bit different. Another thing that you have to take into consideration, this is how it looks. Video, Spark, and Post. It's not all together. It's little. And by the way, these are the Adobe apps already. So Photoshop is coming to the iPad. They're going to announce it on Monday. They're already talking about it. A full-blown. It's not all the way everything. And of course, you all probably heard about Adobe Fresco. This is the new drawing thing. And then Premiere Rush and all kind of stuff like that. This is actually, you don't use it anymore. But so they're going back and forth to different kind of areas to have that. If I want to go in and create another one by default, I can also go back to the area that I have, and then I'm going to go in and let's say click here. If I want to go in and do another graphics, I want to go back here and start again. And then if I go in from start from scratch, I can go and choose anything that I want and just do next. And basically, if I wanted to use that, I'm gonna go and click next. I can use some stuff that I have, and I can start it from some image that you have already. Does that make sense? So instead of kind of themes, they have different kind of layout. So you can go in and start the layout based on something that you do and just create little samples. Does that make sense? So basically, this is...
I didn't catch that.
I didn't talk to you. Now we're gonna go into the last one that people, I mean, I use it, not as much, but look at this. Remember, I just played with it for 1 second. It's already here. I play with this one, it's already here. I play with this one, look at that. It will populate your area as soon as you do that. So yes, it is important to go and even now and then maybe go in and show some, delete some stuff.
Yeah.
You can see here I have like a presentation, I'll show you in a minute. But what if I wanted to sort mine by video? So you see here, the not video. What does it mean not video? It's not like I created, but you can see here, let's say I clicked on this one. This is a little video I created for somebody that's getting married, and instead of sending her a little card, I just decided to take all the music can go directly from the music is going from your area here. You can add the theme and this music. Just remember, if you want to use any kind of music from your machine, you can have it on and off, and depending on what you have, that's the music that's going to be there. And then I can go back here, and then you see here, like this is a theme that I did. I think my music is not on right now, which is okay. But you can see I did some ads. I mean, I could have done it more and things like this. You see all this little movement. It is part of the theme that you have. And then of course you can download it and share it like this. If I'm gonna go and download it, it's basically gonna go and download as an MP4. This MP4 can be included within the video and can be included within page. Okay, so you can go and do that. So let's say if I wanted what other things like I'm creating it for. If I'm gonna go back to my video, and maybe you want to do like an instructional video even. So I have like, let's say, an instructional. This is video that I did directly from Adobe XD to show how to do some stuff. This is just a video that I took a picture of, actually a video. I took a picture. I took a video, tiny one, on my iPhone, and then decided to do something about art and music, and then I have the stuff over here. So let's say if I'm going to preview it. This is a tiny little video that I do in the art, and then I start adding other images, and then I didn't finish it because I kind of wanted to do something that it is part of art and music in downtown LA or something, but instead of doing that, I can go back here and do that. So let's say we wanted to start a video. You can also, I have some videos that I'm talking, which is not so cool because I don't have a good voice, but you can do instructional videos, and then if you're doing the instructional video, you can see, I think I have, this is a video, happy birthday video. I don't even know what I have here. You might see that I'm talking here, and that's why I wanted to. And I think I had, you see the frames and everything here. So if I wanted, let's say, to start one, you can click on plus, and now you can do video. And then they're going to ask you, do you want it to be as a slideshow? Do you want to do a standout? Do you want to do it for growing your business? Or you definitely want to go in and start from scratch. So promote your brand and everything. They'll give you a tiny little template. So let's say I'm going to start from scratch, and I'm going to do a video. So you're going to get something that kind of looks like this, and let's say we're going to go and call it promoting my new product, my new perfume. And I'm going to go in and click OK. So then I'm going to go in and click on that, and this one, promotion idea. See, they're giving you, they know you're promoting, teach a lesson, and everything that you have. And then if I'm going to go, let's say, promoting an idea, it is going to open it with a certain theme already, maybe. It doesn't have anything in it. And this is what you have. So you're going to go back here to the first one, and let's say you're going to go and say, what do you want to put in the first one? So you're going to go and upload an image. And this is what I have on my image, and you can decide over here how long you want to do it in a frame. 30 frames are actually the maximum. Okay, so let's say I want it to be like this, and then I want it to be kind of like my first title here, and then I'm going to go back here and then add a text on it, and I say welcome to my project. And that's what I have, and I can decide how long I wanted it to be there. And then I can go back here and decide, what do you want? Describe the world today, what setting context. I mean, they're telling you some kind, who are you helping? Because I took like a little template, but it doesn't have to be there. You can also upload a video. So if you're going to the file that I gave you, I think you have a video, the MP4840 is the one I took there, and this is the video. And I'm going to go and open the video. And then it's going to ask you how much you want to have there. This is the entire video. And then I'm going to go in and click save. So again, you have to think about the aspect ratio and all kind of stuff that you have. So now I want to go back here, and then I'm going to go in and start. And then if I'm going to go back here, it starts like playing my video. I'm just checking it out. And you see here now it has that, and if I want to have some music, or if I had some noise there, I can go back here and click on that. I can also go into the music, and then the music is on or whatever it is, and then if the music is off, if I had some sound in here, which I don't think I had, it will just do a sound from there. And you can take music from anything that you have. So now if I'm going to go in and do that, so that's what I have over here, and I have that. So now again in this one, what do you want to do? You want to put an image. Let's say you want to put an image from somewhere. You're going to put an icon. You're going to go just text. Let's say I'm going to go and find a thing, or just going to go in and do a theme ahead of time. So this is the theme of the video. They're giving you all the way. So let's say my theme is going to be noir, and these are going to be the colors. Do you see it changing it all over? Okay. And then I'm going to go back here to the layout of this. And in the layout, what do I want to do? I want to do a split screen over here. And in this one, maybe I want to put a video or another image. And in this one, I can put also a video and another image. So this is awesome to explain some stuff. Does that make sense? I can also go in while you have that, and I can actually record myself. I don't know if you're going to hear that, but you can say, hello, this is my images, and they are not so cool because I have a terrible voice and I don't know how to work with it. So then say, hello, this is my images, and they are not so cool because I basically might do that. So this is my images, and they are not so cool because I have a terrible voice and I don't know how to work with it. This is it, and go back to that. So you can basically embed it right away to the area that you have. So if I'm going to put a photo here, I can upload any photo that I have on one side. And then I can go in and have another photo on the other side. And you can see here, so I have 1 and I have 2. This is my split screen. Do you see that? So in my split screen, I don't want to record anything. I can go in and check it out. That image goes here and 1 image goes here. Do you see that? Depending which one I wanted. I can still go in, and if you edit text, it will take away kind of like hello. And then I can go in and put an image here, and then I can just go. So you can just play. A lot of time what I do, I will put text over here with a lot of stuff and then put an image on the other side. So you can have split screens to play with the stuff. You can also go to the same image or another one and decide you have a screen just with captions. So you can have a photo and just put some captions on it. And then I'm going to go in and say, build your community. So now I'm going to go back here, and I have that over here. And this is based on that. So everything you can resize, you can change the layout, you can play with the area here. You can also go another one, you say text and title, they call it. So what happens here is you can have some text. And if I have some stuff here, you see I'm still copying stuff. And I can go back here and add some stuff here. And then you can also go back here and upload a photo. Does that make sense? And that's going to be, a lot of times things like this I might put in the beginning of the movie and everything that I have. While I'm having it, I want to change my theme and I want to change it to a different one. That's okay? You cannot change it to, it's going to change it to everything across the board. You cannot say frame like this and frame like this. That's Premiere. That's After Effects. It's basically done for general information. So now if I'm going to go in and do that, you can see I'm playing my video. And I'm doing it faster a little bit. So I'm going to take 60 here. Build your community. Why is it moving like this? And of course I have extra ones. If I don't want them, I can just go back here and say I don't want this one. And I have credit. Yeah, I can do credit, created work back, add your own credit if you want. You can go back here, and then you can go back here, what things, and I can also go back here and right click on that, and then basically you can go back here and you can go and delete the frame, play from here, so I can just delete it, and it's not having it. Because I took a sample, it gave me frames that I don't want. When I do it from scratch, I build my frames by default and then see that as I want. And then the good news about it, you can download, like I said, but also when you publish, that's when you see, you add a category or whatever you have. You can have the subtitle to where you have here. You can get notice or not notice. So if you don't want to have the author, you don't have to. You don't want to have that, you don't need to have that. And then you basically can publish it and share the screen where you have. I can also go into this area and I can go back here, and that's what I do. I hide the credit mode if I don't want it. I can go to this one. Why do I have that? Because I hide the intro, because I have it because of my brand. So if I don't want to have it, I don't need to have that. And you can see this one and that one, and you can go and select them and then delete the stuff that you don't have. So basically, you have that, you change the theme, you change the layout, you can resize it to widescreen and square. You have to be careful a little bit from that, because if images are not relating to that, look, it's going to look a little bit like this. If it's okay for you, that's hello, this is my images, and they are not so cool because I have a terrible voice and I don't know how to work with it. When I do my most of the time I'm just gonna go in, I'm gonna reload the site, and then I usually go in and just do a new one. And if I'm gonna go and do a new one completely, I usually kind of like, this is, I feel more comfortable, and then I don't even look at that. I'm gonna start from scratch, and then asking you the name. So say video, very creative. And then they're asking you, but I don't want that. That's what we looked before, because here they're giving you different kind of little frame. I'm just gonna do that. And that's how I'm by my own now. So you're gonna get something, and I'm saying, yeah, I'm ready. And look at this, you don't get a lot. What you get is the beginning, and you get the end that I have. That's my intro. So I'm gonna go in and start the theme, and I'm gonna do and start something that looks like that. And I am going to go into full screen, and then I'm gonna resize it back to that. And now that's it. I don't know what I'm going to do, so I have to think.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go and say, well, in this one, I wanna go in and click a text and say, welcome to my new video. Very creative right now. And then I'm gonna go back here and click on this one, and this one is basically the credit already. So after going in here, I'm just gonna go back here and click plus. And in the plus, I'm creating a new frame. Do you see that? And it's here. And then I can say, well, I want it to be uploading, and then I'm gonna put this one. Does that make sense? And now that's me doing all kind of stuff. So this one, I know already what it is. I can go in, and this is DTLA pool and food. And I can have that, and I can just do this. So I have here to the welcome, but I can go back here and add some kind of another one. If you want to do stuff that not, I mean, you can basically choose the stuff here. So if I wanted to do as a welcome a nice kind of like gradient and everything, of course I'm going to do it in Photoshop, because this is the image I have here. What I do is the length I can do and all kind of stuff like this, but I cannot do another stuff there. So basically I'm stuck to this one. So I'm gonna have to go back to Photoshop and do whatever I have. So at the moment, this is my video. See this? That's why it goes in and out, because, and then that's the amount of the frame. So you can do one frame longer, one frame shorter, and all kind of stuff like this. So basically you're deciding. So some people really like to have the template, some people don't like to have the template. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I find that it's so easy. I'm gonna stop the recording for a minute. I mean, for not for